Hey everyone, it's Miho Noguchi. I'm an international event host MC and also a voice coach based in Japan, and you're watching Voice Your Dream. 皆さんこんにちは。バイリンガルフリーアナウンサーの野口美穂です。And today's guest here is my mentor and great MC from Australia and now based in Thailand, Peter Miller. Welcome.
Hello.
And yeah, it's so exciting to have
Nice
you
to be
back.
here. Really nice to be here.
Yeah. Oh, shoot.
What's that?
That's the local public announcement.
Public announcement. There's a public announcement. Peter Miller is here.
Yeah,
Peter Miller is here,
everyone.
everybody.
Gather here at Miho's house.
So if you were on stage and something like this happened, something unexpected, we didn't know this was going to happen, you kind of, the worst thing you can do is ignore it and continue on, because everyone suddenly, all their attention has been drawn away. So this is thinking on your feet, and this is being ready, and you've got to, what would you say in this sort of situation if you were on stage now and you had this?
Wow, now you're testing me. Well, I would say, yeah, I will describe what's going on. Oh, hi. This is a public announcement that you are hearing, and sorry about the disturbing sound, but let us continue, or let us wait.
So what did they actually said there? What did they?
I didn't pay attention.
Okay.
It's like
This happens every day?
No, whenever they have like maybe a
Fire alarm.
Yeah, fire alarm, or election. Go to the city,
Okay,
city.
well, that you want to ignore that,
Right.
So it's good if you have some one-liner ready for this, which is semi-humorous. It could be serious, but it's not putting down the announcement, but at least it makes light of it. And the worst thing you can do is get phased as an MC. An MC is never phased. They're Mr. or Mrs. Cool, Calm Cat, I say.
Ooh, cool, calm cat.
Yeah. And you're the coolest person in the room.
All right. Well, I want to talk about your philosophy of MC having two sides of the brain working. And in his book, do you talk about this in the?
No, not really.
Okay.
Maybe I do, but it's a concept that I like psychology, and I like to. When I was young, I read this thing about the brain, and they said, we only use a small percentage of our brain. And I thought, as a young kid, well, that's pretty silly. Well, why don't we use all of it, And then I started to get interested in trying to make more use of my brain. And that's been not an obsession, but it's been a study ever since. And so I realised about the left and the right-hand side of the brain. The right is creative, left is logical. That's how you can remember L. Left is logical.
Left is logical.
Yeah. And that's the organisation part, the O part. And it's easy for most people to be organised. It's not a stretch. The stretch part is the E, O and E, entertaining. And that's what I teach as a coach, how to take your style and make your style entertaining. And it's not rocket science, but it's just taking the essence of the person, which is why public speaking is a really good way to learn about yourself, who you are. Seneca said, know thyself. Who are you? And take that and make it entertaining. Enlarge the personality. So O and E. Now, the challenge is MCs have a particular challenge. They have to be organised and entertaining at the same time. And this is something good to realise that, and that's why they can never get phased, because you might be, thoroughly entertaining but all over the place. That's no good. And you can be very organised and a bit dry and boring, and that's no good either.
Right. And it's so important to stay in the balance.
Right.
I've got too inclined to be entertaining. And then I just ignored the time, and I got in trouble with the organizers. And I learned so much from that experience. And ever since, I've been telling myself, our number one job is to bring the event to the finish line in time. But still...
My mentor said, if all you do is keep the event on time, you've done a great job. If that's all you do.
Yeah.
And that's reassuring for a lot of MCs out there who are beginning. They don't have to make everybody fall on the floor laughing.
Yeah, that's something extra that
Yeah.
you want to consider. Yeah.
I learned at a couple of corporate jobs that I got too involved. They used to put me on the table with the client, and I'd sit there with lunch, and I'd get involved in conversation because I like, everyone's got an interesting story, and I'd go, oh my God, and so I learned never to sit with the client, never to actually sit down at all, and if I was going to sit, it was be right at the back with the AV, the audiovisual people. And I learned my lesson that way.
That's really professional. Yeah, I've been invited.
I like having the food.
Yeah, I know.
The food and the conversations are great, but that's not what they paid me for.
Yeah, and it's so nice of them to invite us to their table. Yeah, but back in the back of our minds, it's like we're not really thinking about the food. We have to be focusing on.
My
the
mentor Ron said that actually people who organise events don't really know that much about AV or MC requirements, or they probably know how to get people to the event, but that's about it. And you've got to become your own AV department, like we discussed before. You've got your own hair and makeup department, and you've got to be lots of departments. Fix up your own technology. Don't rely on someone else to do it. And it's your room, and you need to take control of the entire room. For the time that you arrive and the time that you leave.
Yeah, and Peter has made it such a beautiful artistry of what we do as MCs, and that you teach it very beautifully to those of people who wants to dive into this industry. But you told me that we've been having a conversation, and you've told that MCing is very nice way to start as a public speaker.
Well, it's a way to refine your public speaking skills. I mean, a lot of people start at Toastmasters, which is great, but that's a long journey. And you turn up every week or even every month, and you only get a little bit of time. Good performance, whether it's a singer or whether it's a public speaker or it's an MC or a storyteller or a magician or anybody on stage, requires stage time. When an airline pilot is going for their license, they need airtime. They need hundreds of hours up in the sky, and then you can get your license. It's the same for MCing. You need to get yourself, speaking, you need to get yourself on stage, because it's only the pressure of a live audience that really will bring home to you what you need to do and what you can work on. You can talk all you like in the lounge room at home and imagine that the audience is there, but there's nothing like the time pressure and the pressure of a live audience.
I see. Can you tell us how we can, how a beginning public speaker can find a way to MC some events in their local areas? Or
well, when you think of MCing, you think of weddings, but there's lots and lots and lots of ways you can MC, particularly if you're in a business situation where they have networking events. Always put up your hand for the networking events. Even just family events, a birthday. Put up your hand, tell everyone, you're an MC. There's lots and lots of... in Australia, we have clubs. We have a network of clubs. And that is an amazing way to increase your MCing and public speaking ability. You might start off beginning for free, and you get the good photographs from there. You always video your performance. Every performance you video. I videoed my first 200 MC jobs.
Wow!
And you just get a tripod, set it up at the back, good microphone, not a crappy microphone, but it's not for YouTube. This is only for you when you get home. And I used to watch it pretty much straight away. Particularly for a wedding, I'd get home at midnight or past midnight, and everyone else would be asleep. I'd put the headphones on, I'd watch it and go, that works. That was, no, I can't do that.
Wow.
No,
So
I won't do that again. And I watched the whole thing, and I fast forward to the speeches, and and then I delete it. So I go to bed, and it's deleted. So because then I won't go back to it. It's a big file. It's a couple of gigabytes.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep that. I just want to learn the lesson. Because when you're on stage and you're going through a stream of consciousness, often things come off the top of your head because of your experience. You go, oh man, that was really cool. What I said, that was really... Can you hang on a second? I'm just going to write that down because that was a really good one-liner. And you can't do that. But so you've got the backup of a video. Also, if something does go wrong, the backup video really helps. I've never had to use it, but it's just there for security. So get a good tripod, stick it in front of a pillar, often in the room, and get a Bluetooth microphone. You know, you can't see it, but that's a microphone there, and you know,
I have
yeah.
mine too.
And no, it's for no one else except you. And if you have a speakers coach, then that's good. But you've got to learn to coach yourself, really.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to be your own best coach. A speakers coach like Miho or myself work on your style. Because when an MC has their own style, has created their own style from hours and hours on stage, that's the gold. That's where your income will go up. And it's easy to promote you, easy to market you, and people will recognize you for that style. And it's easy for you. You get on stage and boom, you flick the switch and you're into your own style. And when you come off stage, you're off the style. You're driving home and you are Miho Noguchi or Peter Miller. You're not the MC anymore. And it's a switch that you can turn.
Yeah, and to reach that level of being able to switch the personality, you have to establish your style.
Correct.
You have to analyze your own performance after you go back home.
Yeah.
And I've learned that skill from you, and I've always recorded my performance on the stage. Right. Sometimes I got trouble because some organizers say, "Hey, what is she doing?"
Yeah.
It's just so Japanese, but I always explain that this is just for my own use, and
you can put it in the contract before, or you can tell them, I will be videoing my own performance.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
And so they can't come back to you and say, what are you doing? You
right.
know?
Yeah.
It's just, I know you mentioned to me that one company you were taking shots for social media, and some companies are funny about it, but I think if you let them know the scene, I'm just going to do this and so forth, you let them know, I think it should be okay, as long as they understand that there's privacy issues, sometimes there are privacy issues.
You got to make sure about that, but as long as you want, as long as you want to improve as an MC, it's a must to watch yourself perform.
Yeah.
And do you have any advice for anybody who wants to get up on stage for the first time? They're used to speaking in public in a conference room, but not on the stage.
Right. There are 3 things you've got for free as a speaker, and these can be done at home. And that's vocal variety, which we're using. Vocal variety. You've got to creatively hang on to the interests of your listeners with your voice. Vocal variety is just up and down. High and low, fast and slow, right?
Yeah.
High and low, fast and slow. That's vocal variety. You can't have a monotone voice. It's the biggest sin, really, you can make as an MC is to have a monotone voice,
Now you're sounding very boring. Yeah.
The other thing is body language, and that can be behind a lectern. It can be a challenge behind a lectern, and I like lecterns. So I get my shoulders involved and my hands and everything like that, and that can be practiced in front of the mirror. And you can practice that at home, and that's transferable. You don't need people in an audience to work on your body language. And the other thing is facial expressions, right? A picture tells 1,000 words, right?
Yeah.
Get active with your face. If you're having a good time, tell your face about it, right? And smiling really is a great way to stop fear, because have you ever tried to think negatively when you're smiling? It's impossible, basically.
Right.
It's really impossible. So if you're going, I can't do this, I haven't got enough experience, smile. Let it go with a grin, right? And it's impossible. Your negative thoughts will go woo out, because fear, F-E-A-R, is false emotions appearing real.
False emotions appearing real.
Yeah. Yeah. You go. Worry is a waste of imagination. Really, that's all it is.
Yeah.
Because the audience wants you to do well. They don't want you to fail. They really want you to do well. So, take it to them. And if you're having a good time, they'll have a good time too. The one thing you can't do as an MC is get angry and get frustrated and show your anger. That's the one big besides a boring monotone voice, it's the one thing you can't do. I saw it once. There was a celebrity on stage, and she was a well-known celebrity, and she had children on stage, and she wanted the children to go around in a certain way. It was unrehearsed, and it was a mess. And then she got really angry because they wouldn't do what she wanted them to do, and it was embarrassing, and everyone's looking at the ground, and it was not good. Not good.
I think, I've heard that, our real personality, in case she was, she got angry, it's like, shows when the situation gets out of the way or something unexpected happens.
Yeah. That's where you've got to be a cool, calm cat, right?
That's right. Cool, calm cat.
Yeah, you're an actor, basically. That's what I say. When you go on stage, you're an actor. You are an extension of yourself. You're an extension of your personality. Know who you are. Know your personality. There's a famous singer called Meatloaf. I don't know if you remember Meatloaf. Big international star.
Oh, Meatloaf.
Meatloaf, yeah, Bat Out of Hell, right? He died about a year ago, and on his epitaph he said, "I didn't sing, my character did the singing." Right? So he would just go into it, and that's the way to approach it. And so it's a safety kind of valve. It's much easier for you to have your own style and switch into it when you go there. Your friends don't want to see you as the MC. Your family and friends, they don't want to see that.
Yeah, it's not you.
Yeah. Well,
where are you? It's like,
you can practice the one-liners. I do practice my one-liners on my family and friends. I practice at any opportunity, actually. I just slip them in there. And as developing your own sense of humor is really important, but you can do it off stage as well, and try them out. Just try them out. And if you have a one-liner, you've watched the video and you go, "That was cool. That they reacted really well." Write it down, right? And then my mentor Ron, he had a whole lot of cards, right? Like a bit bigger than this. They were hand
Sticky
cards,
notes.
but this is the same size. And he had the topic. He did a lot of corporate conventions. So if it was health, and the speaker mentioned something about eating, he'd have eating, health, and he'd have a one-liner there, and he'd just come back and go da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, and they go, "Oh, he's so funny, man."
Oh my gosh.
And he'd just go through them. He'd keep them. There was about 10 or 15 cards covering a lot of topics.
Jeez.
Right? Yeah.
That's the level I want to reach someday. Make everybody laugh, and while
smile. Smile. You don't have to make them laugh. You're not hired as a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
It's better, laughing is okay, but smiling, it's called a mile of smiles. That's what you're doing. A mile of smiles is smiling all the way through the event,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're going, "I really like her. She's really lovely." That's all they want. If they want people to laugh, they'll hire a stand-up comedian.
When I'm on the stage, because I didn't see myself smiling all the time. When I was filming myself, I was like, especially when I was translating the speeches, like I'm like zoned in. But you have to learn to,
speak and smile at the same
speak and
time.
smile at the same time.
Yeah.
And I get this muscle memory all the time.
This can be done off stage. It can be really practiced, because when you're concentrating, the default look is like this. And from my videos, my early video, I thought, "Oh, Peter, you look like you just lost your grandmother, mate. You've got to lighten up a bit, But I wasn't unhappy. I was just concentrating. And I've got very deep set eyes. My eyes are very deep set. I sometimes even have to shave my eyebrows.
Oh.
When I was doing TV commercials, they had to light me from below.
From the below.
Yeah.
So that the dark shadow will not, come on your face.
Yeah. So I have really worked hard at smiling and speaking at the same time.
That's a great quality to have. And I always also want to speak about the volume of your voice. The moment he came here in the house, his loud voice just filled the entire building and the house, and I could hear him from like a couple, dozens of meters away. But tell us how you've developed your, great voice, which is a very critical thing for any MC.
It's called resonance. So you want resonance in your voice, which is reverberation, which is what all sound works from. The violin and the guitar and everything else works from reverberation. All the musical instruments. And so the sound reverberates off the bones in your face. That's why everybody sounds different. Because the bones are different.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And your teeth and the tongue and the lips, it's all put together. So your sound must be at the front. And the best one is the lip bubble. We used to have a candle. So you'd have the candle at acting school and we go, we'd hit there and we'd try and blow it out. And it would go. I thought, that's pretty good, you know.
Wow. I've heard of like making the candle flame move, but it didn't
Blow out
with the lip bubble.
Lip bubble. And the other one is the tongue rattle. Now, if you can't do this first off, don't worry, I couldn't either. And so lips, teeth and tongue really help, and you can get your tongue, clean your teeth there. But it must be at the front, not in your throat out here, which is really weak and breathy, or not in your nose. Get it out of your nose. An MC with a good voice really can write their own checks, because your voice is the first. Well, you walk on stage, so if your garment, well, I call your garment, your uniform, your MC uniform, that you already have in your wardrobe and you don't use it for anything else except MCing, they go, cool, okay, she looks nice or he looks nice.
Yeah.
Now, when you open your voice and you've got good microphone technique, that's the second part. Right? They go, cool, I can hear him or her and he's holding the microphone correctly. And then you start to speak.
Right,
you know?
right.
So they'll tick those things off.
Yeah.
You know.
So our first impressions are like 50% are appearance,
Yeah.
and 38% are vocal,
Right.
like a tone of our voice,
Right.
and only 7% is the content we
Words,
speak.
yeah.
Words.
So it's not what
So-
you say, it's
How you say it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's really true. So don't worry about the words. It's the emotion behind it. I was taught, one of the most important things I was taught as an actor, which has translated into my life in such a monumental way. I'll give this to you now. It's called an action and objective.
Action and objective.
Actors will never walk on stage without their action and objective and knowing what their action and objective is. When we did an acting exercise at school, we had to write it out and we had to give it to the teacher before we went on stage. So my action in this is, my objective is, and your action is, what do you want? Your objective is, why do you want it?
What and why?
Yeah, so what do you want in this scene, or what do I want on stage at this moment? Why do I want it, you know? And what you want is kind of logical and it's not that difficult. It's why. Why will give you the power, will give you the emotion, will give you the reason. And that helps a lot.
Yeah. So when you MC an event and when you think about the what, like I walk on the stage and get everybody's like together,
Yeah.
connect.
What
with
do I
them.
want? So,
Okay.
particularly say for a wedding, I love wedding introductions. I just think they're an MC's ultimate kind of all coming together when you introduce the bridal party. You introduce yourself, the band, the DJ, the venue, the bridal party. That part is my favorite of all MCing tasks. I just adore it. But I always get there 2 hours early and I've practiced it and I've rehearsed it and I know exactly what's going on. However, there's 5% you leave for spontaneous stuff. You know. What was the question you asked me there?
Yeah. So your object of your action.
Oh, what do I want?
Yeah, what you want.
What?
And then you have to think about why you want it,
Right.
right?
Right.
But
So
that's a good
what do I
way-
want? I want the audience to cheer the bridal
Have
party
fun,
coming
yeah.
in and go crazy for the bridal party. I want everybody to get together. Why? Well, because they're paying me to do that, and that's what the bride and groom have instructed me to do.
Yeah.
And that, why do I want it? Because that will make it easy for the rest of the job. If I can get the beginning right, the rest just flows so easily. So nail that beginning.
Yeah.
Even corporate jobs, weddings, it's always the beginning. That first part is really will make it easy for you for the remainder of the, well, I've done a 3-day conference, you know, and if you get the beginning right, by the way, if you are going to speak and you're an MC at a corporate event, do your keynote first and then MC later. This is something that Ron taught me, and it's really important. So he used to have a really funny keynote that he did about communication. And he would come on, this is a 3-day conference, it's a long job and worth lots and lots of money. He'd come on, they go, who is this guy, the speaker, da 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 da. And after an hour they go, oh, I love this guy. Well, you got me for 3 days. Yeah, so don't do it afterwards. You know?
I see, okay. Yeah, that's a good way. So becoming a keynote speaker, and MCs, like I've had this dream of becoming a keynoter someday.
Right.
But would that be a totally different task and the mindsets? Do I have to forget about emceeing? Or like,
no,
because it will
not
be
at all.
all about myself, you know.
No, the keynote has a message. The keynoter has a message. The MC doesn't have any message.
I see. That's
The
the big
focus of the
difference.
MC is on the audience, and really the focus of the keynoter is on their message. Their ego is in a completely different spot.
Right.
And you can switch, but MCing gives you incredible refinement of your public speaking skills, because if a speaker has 3 minutes to tell a story, a funny story, a relevant story, a story that sort of brings everything together, a speaker's got 3 minutes. An MC's got 15 seconds to tell that same story.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You've got to be really good at brevity. You've got to say a lot in a short time, and you can use your vocal variety, your facial expression, and your body language to do that. You know?
Yeah. All right. Well, so we are based in Japan. I mean, I'm based in Japan, and I've done quite a few English-speaking MC jobs, and I can see some more coming in the future. But there are like native English-speaking MCs, well, based in Tokyo,
Right.
and so knowing these skills, you know, that you teach and and I've learned from him, will make a big difference. Like it will make us non-native English speakers even better speakers than those who have never done speaking engagements.
Right. The warning I would say is to just make sure that you understand, for English speakers who have come to Tokyo, who are not natives here, to understand the culture and the humor, and be very careful. What you don't say, they'll never know. So if in doubt, don't. If in doubt you want to say a line and you're thinking, don't do it, you know.
I see.
Yeah, be very, very, very careful.
I see. So for those of the people who want to MC events, maybe mainly in English in Japan, what would be your advice?
Just
What
to
would your
understand
advice
that
be?
culture and to understand that you're not hired as a stand-up comedian, and Japanese humor is completely different from American humor, from Australian humor, from European humor. They've got their own kind of thing. So just understand the objectives. You're going to have to nail the objectives of the event much more than somebody who is a native Japanese bilingual speaker. You're really going to have to do your own research and make sure that you understand what that's about. Even coming down to what you wear. You know, I can feel it now. I did the opening of a Japanese bank. I'm getting emotional.
Oh, really?
Now. Yeah, in Sydney.
In Sydney.
And I thought that I asked about bowing, right? It was because I didn't really understand bowing, and you know, I'm turning red because it was such an embarrassing thing for me. I'm waiting. The head of the Japanese bank from Japan came out and he gave a keynote speak. I introduced him. He came on. He's a big guy, and I asked the organizer, "Is he going to bow afterwards?" And they said, no, I don't think so." So I walk on, after he finished I'm off stage and I walk on stage, he stops and bows to me, and I was already halfway past him. Oh man. And I sort of went, it was really embarrassing, and I just had to get on with the job.
But
you know,
it was in Australia, so I wouldn't expect anybody to bow back.
Maybe, but it was not cool, and you have to move on from those sort of things and not think about it too much, and just say, I did the right thing. I did ask, but I probably could have asked him. I didn't ask him. I asked the organizer, who was the stage manager. And also I could have probably walked slower and just been ready for it, you know. But he stopped and gave me this beautiful bow, and I'm already halfway past him. I thought,
Well, about this job, we have so many like moments of, oh, I should have done this. I should have. But we can learn so much from those experiences for the upcoming.
Keep a journal.
Yeah.
I always keep
Yeah.
a journal, and I've kept a journal for many, many years. And so, yeah, just think on paper. That's the way I look at it. And there's some things you just can't work out by thinking, and if you write them down, they seem to fall into place. And then you can just throw it away, you know, and if you want, you don't look at it again. It's just an idea that was given to me by Robin Pierce from Get Ready First. She said to me that once you write something down, it leaves an extra space in your head, in your mind, your brain, for new stuff to come in. Because there's only so much hard drive in your head.
Kind of download that information on
and
paper.
so it clears the cache in your brain. And so writing down stuff and not keeping it in your head is a good idea.
I see.
Yeah.
I've written so much on the paper, but I didn't know what to do with those documented. But when you said that you can just throw it away, it just makes me feel really relieved. You know, I just can't get rid of. And then still, I have consumed the information. It's synced in.
So you refine your working concept into core concepts. So this is what this is about here.
This is a great book.
This book here is core concepts of emceeing, because there was nothing at all on emceeing when I started. So I used to come home and just go, I learned that today, I learned that. I was learning so fast, I had to write it down. And then I got double booked. There was a girl, a bride, and Saturday, and it was a Wednesday, and she rang me and said, "Oh, my friends just decided not to be an MC. Can you do it?" I said, "I'm booked," and she just burst into tears on the phone. And I put the phone down. "I'm sorry, I can't do it." And I put the phone down, and I thought, "Peter, you can do better than that, mate. Come on. You can't do it. You're able to fix this situation." So I rang my friend Gary. I said, "Gary, what are you doing Saturday night?" He said, "Oh, nothing, mate, you know." And he'd done a few comparing jobs in shopping centres for me. And I said, "Look, I've got these notes, these handwritten notes, and I'll send them to you." And I got Gary to ring the bride, and he fixed it all up, you know. I sent them to him in express post. In those days, we didn't really have
internet,
emails, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And on the Monday, he rang me and he said, "Mate, what a great job. I love emceeing weddings." He said, "Those notes you wrote, they were fantastic. You should make them into a book." And that's how it all sort of started. So this is a refined version of, core concepts. Get what you do into core concepts. And then you don't need the notes anymore.
Right,
right. You know,
high
and low, fast and slow. That's a core concept of
high,
voice.
low,
fast and
slow.
Yeah. Make friends before you make requests. That's a core concept of AV. So when you get to the venue, you go to the AV and say, "Hi, Andy, is it? Andy. Oh, Andy. Hi, Andy. I'm Miho or Peter. I'm going to be the MC today." "Oh, cool." And they're like, "Oh, yeah, man. Yeah. And often you'll get all types of different people, and some will be switched on. But if you know their name, "Hi, Andy, I'm on stage. Can you just lift it up a bit too?"
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Make requests. Make friends before you make requests. You know? "You want a coffee, Andy? I'm going to go and get a coffee." "I'd love a coffee." "Cool." Yeah. And, you know.
I really learned that skill from you, and I adopted it in the Shiseido job. And I wrote down everybody's names, and I even wrote what they looked like. I drew.
There was a few people. I saw the job, and there was a few people on stage. You know, you know.
Yeah, but So knowing their names really gives you confidence that you are in control of the workspace and on the stage.
Yeah.
And just the little tiny things that Peter teaches MCs. Aspiring MCs and seasoned MCs.
Yeah, and don't say to yourself, "Oh, I can't remember names." That's not good enough. You're going to start to remember names, you know. I had this in my head. And then someone said to me, "Why don't you introduce yourself at the door?" Oh, that's a big challenge. That's been the best thing I've ever done. is when people come through that, hi, I'm Peter, how you going? And how do you know the bride and groom? Or how do you, you're with the company, are you? Oh, cool. Okay. Daryl, is it? Daryl. Oh, that's a nice name. My friend's called Daryl. So I've said Daryl 3 times. It's in there already. You know? Marion, I know. Well, Marion made Marion from Robin Hood, right? And so I've said it 3 times as well.
Oh, wow.
And that's how. And Mihao, how do you pronounce? Is it Miho or Mihao? Mihao. I've just said it 3 times, right? And that's enough. And when you're on stage and you go, well, Mihao, actually, she's from Japan. And Mihao feels like a superstar. And they're going, wow, this is impressive, you know. How do you know that? So that's good. Shake the hand, say hello, I'm the MC. And when you get on stage, they're already your group of friends, your new best friend, you know.
Wow. Before we wrap up, I would like to ask you what project you've been working on. I know you're in Thailand, but you are a public speaker and a great MC, mentor, you know, and you told me you've been working on something.
So I do a lot of Zoom calls with MCs who want to create their own style. And then my other part is creating Udemy courses and my own website, just because I went from on-stage income in Sydney, earning really good income, having a great life, I had enough and I just wanted to live outside of Australia. I fell out of love with Australia. There's too many regulations and laws and taxes and but I got to get out of here. And I found and fell in love with Thailand and someone there. But I can't speak Thai and I can't MC there. I'm not allowed to work. My visa won't allow me to work. However, I was in Chiang Mai, which at that time, in 2014, was the world headquarters for the digital nomad movement. So I took my on-stage income and made it online. And that's how I did it.
Yeah, so you have courses on Udemy and for MCs and public speaking.
The public speaking one, I've just been enraptured by emceeing so much, but it's applicable to public speaking. The public speaking ones are on their way.
Oh, good.
That's my next project. That's my next project when I go back from Japan.
Yeah.
Because public speaking and emceeing, they share a lot. There's a lot of shared skills there. However, there are some big differences, and there are certain big advantages of being an MC. Look, speaking is wonderful, but it's a hard grind to make a full-time living out of it. Keynote is about having some deep and meaningful message that really is topical and impacts a lot of people. It's either, you've lived in Mount Everest, you got trapped in Mount Everest for 14 days and you lived on a Mars bar or something like that and you managed to do it and you told this great story, or you developed an invention or something, or you've written a book and it became a bestseller, and so forth. So you've got to have some sort of celebrity, influencer, some major message like that. But it's hard to get to that level.
Yeah.
So that's what I recommend. All speakers who want to refine their skills, get into emceeing anything. Then there are lots of events everywhere, business events, local events, even there's Rotary.
Yeah,
right?
Rotary,
Local Rotary. They need an MC. Event organisers are crying out for someone to say, I'll MC that. Oh, thank you. Oh, great. And you get up there. They're not paying you, but you can make a mistake with a microphone technique and and you've got to get microphone technique right. That's really the big thing. As soon as an MC walks on stage, it's the microphone that I can tell whether they know what they're doing or not.
I was going to make a video about that, how to hold a microphone like a professional. And I remember your technique is to hold the microphone like a tennis racket.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's so this is the pen. So it's an extension of your arm. So hi everybody, and it's just an extension of your arm. Don't hold it like that with a fist. It looks like you're about to punch somebody.
Which I was doing for a long time.
And it looks terrible. Singers, no worries. Singers can do that.
Yeah.
Not an MC. An MC is always elegant and always like sophisticated, have a grace about them, but charming. An MC is always charming, really, no matter what it is. And you've got charm. You've got a lot of charm. Japanese people have a lot of charm and elegance, so you know.
Yeah, once you learn how to handle the microphone, it's just stays with you.
Yeah. And you
right.
speak into the microphone, so it's there, not across there. It's not sort of like that. You don't have it on your chin. Dancers have it on their chin, but it's just there. And you learn to turn when the microphone goes. So you hold it into there, and then you'll just learn. And you can practice this at home for sure. Buy yourself a microphone. It's not, setting up an MC business is not expensive, really.
Right.
Not like a photographer where there's tens of thousands of dollars of insurance and equipment and all sorts of things.
Yeah. And you said you work with the AV guy at the venue and, ask them to hook it up. So
this has all been organised before, so before the job, you would have already checked what sort of equipment they have.
Yeah.
You know. Well, since the pandemic, I'm very conscious, and I always have been conscious of health with microphones. If you haven't got your own microphone, make sure you screw the top off and clean it. There's a sponge inside, right? Because there's all kinds of germs in there. And this is why no one uses my microphone except me, and I plug it in to the system when I get there. It's a Shure SM58, and they're the very best.
Everybody's
it's not expensive,
favorite.
a couple of $100, but
Yeah.
the first job I ever did, the first comparing job was in a pub, a bar in Sydney, and it was a talent quest. And that microphone had been used by everyone for years. It had a whole lot of gunk inside it, and I remember thinking, the next day, I was so sick, I didn't work for 10 days after that. I was in bed for 10 days with the worst throat infection you've ever seen. After the 10 days, after the Wednesday, because it was a Sunday night, on the Wednesday next week, I just went and bought my own equipment straight away, and I never looked back.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you were the first one who recommended buying your personal microphone and to take it to the venue. And I thought it was wow, but it really tells us why it's important.
Well, karaoke in Japan is huge, and they have their own microphone.
Yeah.
But you can get a little sock for it, like a little clean.
And yes.
So if you're going to buy an
disinfect
SM58, buy two microphones. One is yours. You can put a little bit of tape around the bottom of it so you know it's yours. But you give that to the speakers. You give that to anybody else who's working, and they don't. On your microphone,
Yeah, and especially after COVID, it's even more important for us to have our own microphone. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure to have you over here in Gifu and film all this for my students, and I hope you're gonna make use of this videos for your own content sometime.
Yeah. Look, emceeing is the best job in the world. I truly believe that. You're bringing all your awesome public speaking skills to make an event, a good event, even better. And it's a great job. You have a wonderful effect. You actually, people have put out their time. They've come, they've paid some money, and they've got there, they've parked the car, they've got babysitters, and there's a lot of effort to make this event happen. And it needs someone up front and in control.
Wow. Thank you. I love your passion, Peter. Thank you so much for coming.
Okay, we're off to the sumo now.
Yeah, we're
Bye-bye.
going to sumo.
Bye.
Bye.